Left turn from Florida to out west, where it is going down in that state after Senator Orrin Hatch was named Utah of the Year by the Salt Lake Tribune. So that headline, okay, sounds pretty nice, right? Utah of the Year. Well, not so much. Keep reading. The paper's editorial board explains it's Utah of the Year as someone who's done a lot for better or for worse. And in Hatch's case, in their opinion, it's worse. They write his utter lack of integrity that rises from his unquenchable thirst for power is partly why he received this title. So how did Hatch respond? At first, maybe a little awkwardly, he said he was grateful. Did he actually read it? His spokesman definitely did, now saying the editorial baselessly attacks the service and integrity of his boss in what they describe as an unquenchable thirst for clicks. I want to bring in George Pyle now, editorial page editor of the Salt Lake Tribune, one of the authors that op-ed, which is making a lot of waves here, George. So I got to get your response here from Senator Hatch's spokespeople saying, hey, this is actually about your unquenchable thirst for clicks. Is he right?
Well, clicks are important in your business and in mine. I think we have a higher goal going into these things. But if that was our goal, we sure got a lot of clicks over the past couple of days. It was number one on our website for a couple of days there.
Sounds like you're giving Senator Hatch's team a little bit of ammo there to go after you, George. Is there a broader reason why you decided to give Orrin Hatch the title?
Well, I mean, there's two things going on here that I think maybe in the senator's defense they didn't quite grasp at first. There was the news article, it was on the front page, that named Senator Hatch the Utah of the Year. And the news article was very straightforward. It said this choice is made on the basis of who made the most news, made the biggest difference, did the most things, especially things that have impact on the whole state of Utah and have a perspective to last a long time. That was the news story on the front page. On the editorial page, we added to that by trying to explain further that the fact that you did a lot of things that are important and impactful doesn't necessarily mean that all those things were good. We picked on three specific things. His outsized role in convincing the president to roll back two of Utah's major national monuments. We thought that was a big mistake to do that. The Grand Staircase Escalante it has been there for 20 years, is well established. Bears Ears National Monument was something that the Native Americans, Navajos, and others had been working for generations. We mentioned stand on the tax bill. We were more or less in favor of the tax bill. We liked the corporate tax cut. And mostly we were concerned that 6 years ago, the last time he ran, when we endorsed him to finish some things, he made very clear that that was going to be his last run, and now he's gearing up to run again, having stared down two generations now of potential successors.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, because the editorial board is encouraging Senator Hatch to resign. You make the point. I mean, this is a guy who's been in office for a long time. What makes you think he might actually step down now? Anything?
Well, I mean, we don't want him to resign. I mean, he's going to fill out the rest of his term. But he said 6 years ago that was going to be his last run. We want to hold him to that promise. When we endorsed him 6 years ago, among the things that we thought he might accomplish would be renewal of the CHIP health insurance program for children, which he and his then friend Ted Kennedy were responsible for, much to their credit. And he had been a leader in such things as the Dreamers, the DACA, the helping people who came to the United States illegally as children, amending the law so that they could stay. Now, President Obama put out an executive order to that effect. President Trump has suspended it, arguing with some grounds that should be an act of Congress. It shouldn't be an executive order. We had some faith that over the last 6 years, Senator Hatch would use what he describes as his great influence and experience to solve those problems, and nothing has happened.
To play devil's advocate a bit, I mean, both of those things are on the docket for the spring, right? Making sure that CHIP gets fully funded long term, dealing with DACA, dealing with the immigration issue could lead into the beginning of 2018 there. You mentioned something interesting, though. You talked about a potential, it sounded like missed opportunity for other candidates. Is that how you see this? Orrin Hatch staying in the Senate leading to missed opportunities?
Oh, very much so. I think that he's resting on his laurels. He thinks this seat belongs to him rather than to the people of Utah. Again, 10 years ago, the convention system, the Republican Party in Utah took out Senator Bob Bennett with a challenge from the right. Senator Hatch was very much afraid that the same thing would happen to him. He ran saying, look, I'm the influential guy in the Senate. You don't want to lose my power. Two of the things I will do with my power are chip and DACA. He did neither. There's no particular reason to believe that he deserves another 6 years to do those things. Anybody who would replace him from the middle of the Republican Party would probably vote the same way, but would be less in a position of having gone back on his word, and would probably be rather less embarrassing in the way he's kowtowing to the president. I mean, the possible alternative to Senator Hatch, whether as a challenger or as a successor, if the senator does step aside, is Mitt Romney. 95, 98% of the time, he would probably vote the same way that a Senator Hatch would, but we would be spared the embarrassment of him sucking up to the president.
George Pyle, editorial board editor of the Salt Lake Tribune. Thank you for being with us and for that perspective, one that I'm sure Senator Hatch's office would have a lot to say about. We want to talk, too, about why you should care. All you guys watching, whether you're in Utah or in California or Vermont or wherever, about what's happening